Hello everyone, and welcome to the 10th AOR race on the circuit of Spa-Francorchamps. As we take a quick look on the championship standings. No, sorry, it's the 9th race. As we can see, we're 16 points behind Craig, which isn't ideal, but we're kind of secure second place because we're 41 points ahead. As we just jump on right away to qualifying one. As we're starting the lap, I can tell you it wasn't the best of the laps, but I think it was even slightly better driving-wise than the qualifying 2 lap, as we get a bit of a slipstream here. And we're not gonna see the whole lap because the important lap is the qualifying 2 lap, so we're just gonna skip right away to the 3rd sector. And watch the last couple of corners and see what time do we manage to get. Which is not going to be shown on screen. Because at the moment qualifying 1 is quite easy, let's say, to make it through, so here it comes the important times qualifying 2. I can tell you on qualifying 1 we ended up on 2nd place with a 1:43.1. As we skipped the apex quite a lot on this first corner on the qualifying 2 lap, which it isn't ideal, but if you do it properly, it can even be slightly better than not missing the apex, which is a bit weird, but it's just the nature of the corner, because if you miss a bit this apex, you might be able to get away of the corner with more speed. So we do a decent first sector, but it isn't really. It's good, but it's not the best we could manage. Especially the front right tire smoking there, just pushing at the limit of the car at the moment. This was our first attempt on qualifying 2. So we're running here the 2nd sector. And again, the 2nd sector, it isn't bad, but it's not good enough. At least not good enough for my expectations. And let's see if we nail the last couple of corners. And oh, that bottled the complete lap. The whole lap went away there. Yeah, and we aborted the 2nd attempt, so here you have the top 10 times of the qualifying 2 session. As you see, if we didn't bottle that first corner and last corner, we maybe would have managed to challenge P1, but we didn't. So Craig's starting on pole position, we're starting on 2nd place, and Sam starting on 3rd place with softs. 4 lights, 5 lights. And it's light out, and let's see what happens on this first corner, because it's quite tricky to get there without any damage. As we can see that Craig opens a lot his line, and Sam snips in. Sam got from P3 to P1, and as we need to lift a bit there, because we didn't want to risk it at this point. I think we had the right to go there, but as we go 3 wide, yeah, 3 wide, we're not fast enough on a straight line to get P1 again, so we're just gonna, at this moment it's okay, we're just behind the leader, so in fact I'd rather spend the whole stint behind the leader if I can keep up with his DRS zone at this stage of the race. I'd rather stay behind the leader, because then you're the one controlling the race. So we see that Sam's kind of sniffs in here as we slow a bit the image, and we squeeze him right away to the curb just on the limit of the rules on the track. I think it was a fair move, but just on the limit. And I think Sam was a bit safe there, and that's why he went a bit extra wide and went onto the curb. As we are taking the slipstream here on Drake, so let's see if we can overtake him on this last couple of corners. As we brake so late, I think even later than we would want. But we managed to get P1, so we're starting the second lap and we already got the lead, which it isn't ideal, you know? Like, if you can break the RS, then it's good. And let's see if we can manage that. But as I said, on these tracks like Spa that have such a long straight, that DRS and even without DRS only slipstream, it does give you such an advantage when you're behind. And it's not just about a fuel, because there wasn't any problems at all to keep pushing the whole race and still be fine with fuel. That's another thing I need to manage about the car, because I see a lot of guys saying that they need to save fuel at some stage of the race, and we don't really need to. We just can push the fuel almost at its maximum every race. So that's another thing we need to look for the upcoming races. And if I'm not mistaken, there's only 5 races left. So 26 points behind and 5 races left. It's not ideal, but you never know. If we can keep consistently scoring a lot of points, and we were lucky enough to not have any DNF and Craig to have some, or at least one, we can challenge for the win still. I noticed here in the last corner that compared to the testing, maybe I was driving it a bit differently, but I noticed that the car didn't want to rotate enough, and that was was annoying me a bit, because it was costing time. And it's lap 3, the area zone, and let's see if we gave the arrest to the cars behind, and yes, they have the arrest. So it's not ideal, but what can you do at this stage? It's just keep P1. I mean, as I said, we don't have any fuel issues, so the only bad thing, let's say, it's like we are letting Craig and Sam save fuel if they need to, but it's something we can't control at the moment, so. As we are pushing a lot at the moment, maybe even a bit too much. I wouldn't say so, because tires were right on target, I think, or something close to target. Target was to pit lap 11 or 12. It depended a lot on the other cars. But we're just trying to break the RS. And let's see if we can manage that, because that would be very good news. Such a long straight. And Craig doesn't have the RS. We did it. We broke the RS from Craig. So at this stage we need to keep pushing to avoid him getting the RS again. because I remember it was just right about 1.0 or 1.1. So he almost has the rest. So at this stage, what would have been perfectly for us is that we managed to break away and Sam catched Craig. But I can tell you that that's not what happened. As you will see in a few seconds when we start the next lap. We still have a considerable distance gap, but I'm not sure if this is a 1 second gap. I still will lose time this lap. Yeah, definitely this isn't a 1 second lap. Yeah, and we gave him the RS again. So at this stage, we rather save a bit tires. We just keep it clean for the whole stint, and let's see what happens when the end of the stint approaches, which isn't gonna be far away from this lap, but we're just in the middle of the stint-ish. Yeah, and he has the RS here as well, so this is a very bad thing. These are very bad news for us. As we skipped the lap 8, and as you can see, nothing happened. We just kept lapping the same way, the three of us. If it was only because of Craig, I would pit lap 11 to avoid him undercutting, but I'm afraid of traffic, so...
What's the pit delta?
It's 16 seconds, a pit 16.
Yeah, you will ride in the middle of...
And there you heard our conversations with our engineer this race. Yeah, as you just listened. It's 16 seconds of pit delta, so there isn't a gap to pit now. And as we are being overtaken by Craig so easily, like we can't really do anything. Like, yeah, you can try to use some quality boost, but it is a bit pointless at the moment. Look at this huge gap he has opened. Like, we haven't done anything different. The tires are fine. He has opened a huge gap. I don't know if he's using quality boost or what the is he doing, but Sam is just staying there. He has the consistency of the soft tires. We don't have the consistency 100% because of the super soft tires. Because the tires aren't as consistent as the soft tires. But look at the gap. I think this is more than 1 second gap. What the How has he managed to pull that gap? There's clearly something we're missing about quality boost. There has to be something missing. Because you just can't stay back behind a car and just pop the fastest lap of the stint, in fact. I remember this was his fastest lap of the stint. And we're relatively still a bit close-ish, but I don't think we're gonna have the RS, so we're gonna get mugged on the straight by Sam if he is close enough. So we'll see. He isn't close enough yet, so we might stay ahead of him for now. Yeah, we're staying ahead of him for now. But we didn't have the RS to defend, so I believe we didn't have the RS. I didn't take a proper look. He's not pulling away anymore. This is what I'd say. Like, he magically pulled away instantly to get that 1 second gap, and he's just managing the gap. Like, yeah, you can push very hard to open a gap, but at this stage of the stint, you can't really push that hard and make that difference driving. So there has to be something else that helped to open that 1 second gap so fast. Like he opened that 1 second gap in a matter of 3 corners almost. The theory behind the quali boost is that upshifting and downshifting damages the engine, or that's what I've been told. So we're gonna have to investigate a bit more about that, because the next upcoming race is Mexico race, which has even a longer straight than this one. Well, I don't know if it's longer or not, but it's really long as well. So we're gonna have I expect to have a similar race, and also I expect Kieran to join the battle. So and if few races we can have a 5-way battle for the win. As you saw there that we have a huge slide on turn 1 here. We just can't do anything. The RS is so powerful that you just can't do anything when you have a car so close behind slipstreaming and with the RS. He doesn't even need to use quali boost. And look at Sam. He hasn't pulled away as much as Craig, but he has pulled away quite a lot already. I believe this was 7 or 8 tenths behind him already. So I don't know what's wrong with our car, or if they just quali boost when after they overtake a car to try to open a gap. Maybe it's just our setup that it's not good to follow a car. So we'll have to dig in a bit to solve these problems ASAP. Otherwise the championship battle could be quite decided already. And at this stage we can either pit and try to undercut, or follow them and pit next lap. And we try to... as we almost hit the wall there. I didn't have any damage, but if you take a close look there, we might have maybe not hit but scratched a bit the wall. As we go for the undercut and we put a set of mediums. Our strategy here is just go to the end with these mediums and let's see what happens on the race. This was one of my fears. We're just in the middle of a kind of train. It's not a close train, which is good, but it's still kind of a train, which isn't good. But luckily we have the RS here, so we're gonna easily pass this guy. Brandon Halen, if I'm not mistaken. Or maybe it was his teammate, I'm not sure. We expect Sam and Craig to beat this lap. Maybe not Sam, because he wasn't softs, so... But if he doesn't beat this lap, he's gonna lose all touch with us. I can guarantee you that, because the undercut is powerful. Even if you do it with mediums, the undercut's powerful. Not as powerful as if you do it on softer tires, of course, but it is powerful enough to make it work. So let's see if they beat the slap and we make it work. As we're behind Noah, I think. And we can't lose time. We really can't lose time. I think he had high wings, or he turned his engine down, I don't know. But we didn't even need to use
Fuel is on
a higher
target.
mixture as we screen at team radio.
Break and Sam are pitting.
Yeah, as we heard that fuel's on target and Craig and Sam are pitting, so they are pitting and we're just on a start finish line straight. So let's see if we can get away with the undercut, and just that's Craig, and Sam has to be behind Craig. Yes, we got away with the undercut, but he's really close and he will have the RS, so we're gonna have to fight hard to overtake this car, keep position with Craig. as we're again through white, and we just about go to the inside on the last possible second. And while braking, we move a bit to the left. Just
The diffuser
let's hear
damage?
team radio first.
At the moment, there's good.
So I'll explain what happened, what really happened there. I saw cars using the left curb to brake, and I assumed that Craig was one of them, but apparently it wasn't him. It was Sam who was using more the curbs to brake. So what I did there is just, of course, on the limit, maybe a bit on the limit, but who knows. It wasn't the limit for me. I moved to the left, still leaving room for Craig. He braked a bit later than me, so that's why he hit us. But anyways, if he had gone to the curb, he would have had plenty of room to brake. But as I said, that was a bit of confusion. So anyways, both cars were fine, so I would say it was more like a racing incident more than other things. Because even if I moved on the braking, it wasn't even it didn't affect on the accident that I was moving or not on the braking. It was the maybe misjudgment of the distance or just misunderstanding of the braking way of Craig. So as one more lap has already gone by, and we have in front a car that hasn't stopped yet, and he's in super softs. In fact, he's Kieran Chadwick, which isn't a slow guy, but for some reason he's here. I think he had a grid penalty or something, and oh, that's so close. We're not even. I mean, we're pushing, of course, because we want to get by him as soon as possible, and hopefully Craig doesn't manage that fast. Well, we need to lift left massively on some corners to not hit him. As we just went on the outside to get, well, on the inside and then get the outside on the corner, and oh, what a shame. He just either letting them pass, or his tires are dead. And the feeling on the race is that he let them pass, but after watching the replay, I clearly saw that that wasn't it. So I'm not mad or something to him. He did what he had to do. He just kept his line, and his tires were dead, so he couldn't do anything different to defend his position, as Craig and Sam did it perfectly. So there's nothing wrong of anyone there. So again, the story is starting back again with medium tires when we have a one lap older tires, which isn't ideal, but shouldn't be such a difference. So the cars behind us have the RS. And we're leading the race, but it's just the start of the stint and it's just halfway through the race. So at the same time that we are wanting to push, we just need to keep an eye on the tires because they need to last 20 laps, because we pit it at the end of lap 11 and that's 20 laps, I think, yeah. So at this stage we are pushing, but we are also taking care of tires, so we're not pushing at 100%, but we also want to break the RS again because we managed to do that on the first stint, and we might be able to do that again on the second stint. So that's our only hope, to manage to break the RS on the second stint. But look at how close Craig gets. In fact, he might be even try to overtake here. And look at this. This was such a ridiculous moment because I confused and I thought the DRS line was the pit entry line, detection zone, the DRS detection zone line, but it was before that, so Craig would have had DRS regardless if I was first crossing that line or not. So we both did the corner really slow to let the other one be the first exiting the corner. But he did it slower than me. So I was the first one exiting the corner, and that's what happened. Both cars had DRS, I didn't. And yeah, I mean, you can't really do anything. Was fun to drive, a little bit frustrating when these things happen, but it just the nature of the track and the magic of DRS. So you can't really do anything different. Like, yeah, you can quality boost a bit. There wasn't any point really on defending at this stage of the race, unless Sam wasn't able to keep up with Craig's pace. A thing that we didn't take into account at this point is that Sam started with softs and Craig and us started with super softs. So Sam at some point should have some tire wear issues, but we didn't take that into account at this stage, which was a big mistake probably. And here we're attacking Sam because we're desperate to get that second place back, but maybe it's not the best. It's not the best, because you can see that Craig has opened this gap. The DRS detection zone, I think it's right in the middle of this corner, or Whoosh, and Radillon, I think it's those names. I don't know. I didn't look at the map, and I usually don't know the names of the corners. And yeah, we don't have DRS. Sam has DRS. He played it good if he is playing it to get second place, but that was a very stupid move if he wants to battle for the win, to be honest, because we just gave Craig a 1 second gap on the most stupid way when we are 14 laps to go. Lap 17. Well, in fact, I think it's 15 laps to go. But let's see, I think eventually Sam manages to close the gap. Yeah, so we skipped to lap 23 because nothing really important happened there. Yes, we overtook again Sam, but it's just the same situation again. We don't have DRS, he has DRS. So we can't defend here. And this is a really important moment because we would have had to keep in mind that Sam's tires should have been worse from now on from our tires, but we didn't keep that in mind. As you can see that even though we couldn't defend at all, we squeezed him on the edge of the track to see if he got a bit panicked or something, but he didn't, so we're just battling as hard as we can inside the rules, but we can do anything else to improve our race.
Is there a gap to fourth place to beat the super softs and just push like hell?
Kieran is in fourth. He's 16 seconds behind you, 16.5.
Gotta risk it. I'm pitting. It's the only thing I can do different.
Yeah, as we hear here the team radio, it's lap 23. It's gonna be 7 laps, 8 laps, 8 laps. Lap 24, yeah, 7 laps. No, 8. I don't know. We'll see. As we decide to pit, which can seem a good decision, as we almost we risk it so hard there on the limiter. We had to, like, it's We had to go all in. At this time, like a saying that I'd like to hear is that desperate times call for desperate measures. So it was a desperate time for me because we were losing the lead to Crike. As we exited the pits and just behind Kieran Chadwick. And he's on semi-fresh softs. But it shouldn't be an issue, as we see that he is either running a car with higher wings, or he's just not using the engine mixtures as high as he could to defend. Because anyways, we are much faster than him after putting Subasov, so yeah, I have to do 8 laps with his tires, which should be fine because we did 11 laps and we could have even done 12 or 13 laps at the first stint. But we're gonna have a problem here, and you'll see it shortly. We're pushing as much as we can, which is fine. There were some of this first laps that we even got 2 or 3 seconds to Sam, but we did what I thought at the start of the race that it wouldn't work, and in fact it only would have worked if instead of me, if we just this set of super soft on the second stint and we ended up the race on the soft stint with the soft tires, I mean, because that would have been the way to end the race and still be consistent at the end of the race. But we just went all in when pitting here. I mean, we had kind of nothing to lose, but we had something to lose. P2, which is only a 3-point difference, but are 3 points. So at this stage, it maybe would have been better to stay behind Sam and attack him in the last laps, as I said, because of his theoretically worst tire wear. But we just, as soon as we got overtaken by Sam and we thought we could make the pit stop back, we decided to pit, which was clearly a wrong call. It was my call, so I can't blame anyone else. I just asked for the pit delta if I had a window. I kind of had, as I overtook the P4 guy, Kieran Chadwick, on the straight with the DRS kind of easily. That's what I said about DRS. It sometimes plays out in your favor, sometimes it doesn't. But it's how races are. Sometimes you need to risk it, so that's what we decided. At least to have some fun pushing some laps instead of just taking care of tires and staying behind some cars. But clearly that's not the best approach, at least not at this stage of the race. And yeah, we're not gonna have any times overlay here today to see if the gap's closing, but I can tell you the gap was closing right about 2 or 3 seconds per lap, the first laps of the stint. But then I cooked the tires. There was even some laps that I got to 10% tire wear on a single lap on the front, which is way too much. Way too much. It's pointless to push that hard because the car's struggling on these slow corners. The car's struggling so much to rotate again. Maybe a better setup rotating would help. I don't know. So we were using the throttle to rotate the car, but the car didn't really want to rotate at all on some slow corners, as we are already on the last lap, and you can see the distance with Sam. The car in front is Sam, but yeah, the other car in front is a backmarker. In fact, is our teammate. On one hand, he kind of helped us overtaking Sam, which he had the rights to do, of course. But on the other hand, he gave him DRS. So I think one thing compensated the other thing, and it didn't really affect Sam at all. As we smoking the tires, our tires are dead. We're just pushing to see if Sam makes some mistake, but at this stage we already know that, yeah, that huge understeer on these tires that are dead. At this stage we know that we got P3, don't do anything stupid, just cross the line and better luck next race, you know. We tried, it didn't work. Sometimes things work, sometimes don't. It still is a P3, which isn't that bad. Could have been much worse. As we had on Baku, that we did some setup, even worse setup mistakes, and we crashed with a front wing in the middle of the track. And we ended up P7, so it's P3, it isn't that bad. But it's P3 and the leader of the championship just won the race. So he got us 10 points. As we can see here, we did the fastest lap. We only finished 2 seconds behind Sam. We maybe could have catch him if we didn't cook the tires, but who knows? Like, we had to push as much as we could, but maybe we had to push a little bit more safely. And we opened a gap, a 12-second gap to Kieran, which is a bit regardless, because of course we were faster with fresh tires. As we can see here on the standings, that Craig is now 26 points in front. Philip Krause didn't race, so we got him 15 points. He's now 56 points behind. And you can see the rest for yourself. It isn't really important for us, so. And that's pretty much it. Let's hope the next race, which is the next week. And this week, when you watch the video, hopefully, it's Saturday. So remember to tune in on the official broadcast, which is quite entertaining, I gotta say. And have a great day. Goodbye, guys.